It's also music to match. Best of luck to both teams. Have a great game.
There is one game remaining on Friday's playoff schedule. It is another 1 versus 2 playoff encounter between 5-0 Triple Crown Colorado, who finished first in their pool, the 2-time Canada Cup finalist, taking on Team Mexico. And they will have quite an act to follow if they're to put forward what we just witnessed here. Canada downing Australia 4-3 in 2 extra innings. It went 9 before Canada would win it and advance to tomorrow's winners bracket final. And these two teams playing for the right to join them. So we know now that Canada will certainly be in a position to play on Sunday. Team Mexico, 4-1 in the round robin. Their only loss at the hands of Canada. And they have added a lot of U.S.-born Mexican heritage college players as they continue to build their team back from what was a very good team in 2021 at the Olympics. On the topic of very good, look at these names. Wyckoff, Pickering, Atwood, who you don't even see there, and Carlin Pickens. The first team All-American will get the start out of the University of Tennessee. Gregorio Carletti works home plate. Casey Coleman of the United States at first. Steve Gallagher, Pat Hazelton, both of Canada. So Mexico with a tall order. Carlin Pickens and Triple Crown Colorado have outscored their opponents in the 5 games, and they had the much stiffer test as far as the 2 pools that were put together for this tournament. Outscored their opponents 37-1 and allowed the opponents a batting average of just over 100, and you won't have to wait long for Carlin Pickens to be in that neighborhood. Comes right out at 73 miles per hour. She is from Weaverville, North Carolina, dealing with leadoff batter Madeline Bejarano, who had a superb year at Brigham Young University. Her home is Cottonwood, Arizona. Madeline 7 for 14 in the Canada Cup with a couple of doubles and 7 runs batted in. And Pickens with a drop ball on the outside, just missed. 2 balls and a strike to Bejarano, who has a couple of multi-hit games in the tournament and had a pretty good rip at the offering from Pickens. The hardest thrower, one of the hardest really anywhere in the world, is Carlin Pickens. And Bejarano in the air to Kaylee Wyckoff for the first out. Ball really didn't carry a lot off the bat. Just a beautiful night, 22 degrees. Flags barely moving in the outfield. Here's Blaze Behringer, another ad out of Nogales, Arizona, and the University of Arizona. She's a slap-type hitter. 4 for 15 in the tournament, with 2 runs batted in. Hit .267 at the University of Arizona. They lost out in an NCAA Super Regional to Oklahoma State. Pickens would suggest the drop is her best pitch. Works it in and out. And you just do not have, from when she lets it go, probably closer to 35 feet than 43, you do not have a lot of reaction time. So she's already touched 73 and consistently at 72. And our radar gun isn't even directly behind home plate. And Behringer does well to stay off that pitch. She hit .267 at the University of Arizona. They're going to ask, and the answer at third base from Pat Hazelton is no. Carlin Pickens, she has made a number of appearances here. Jess Oakland, even with a really good transfer and release, not in time on the high bouncer to get Blaze Behringer. And she is so quick that any ball to that side of the diamond gives her an opportunity. So the first hit of the game for Mexico belongs to Behringer, her fifth of the tournament. And Jillian Solis, who was one of the hitting stars of this event in 2023, she was 12 for 20. And I would suggest the most dangerous Mexico hitter, even though she's only 4 for 13. But that can change, and this would be a great time as she started to swing it more consistently as the round robin went along. 2 for 3 against New Zealand. She was 0 for 3 on opening night against Canada. Pickens, change up. And there is Jillian Solis. Up in the zone was the change, and Solis sat on it and hammered it right back up the middle. And Mexico has something going in the top of the first. Back-to-back hits off of Carlin Pickens. And brings to the plate the designated player, Alyssa Garcia. She's from Chula Vista, California. Played collegiately at San Diego State, and she's 5 for 9 in the Canada Cup. With a double, a home run, and 4 runs batted in, as Mexico a chance to cash in early. That one hit 74. A ball and 2 strikes to Garcia, the changeup. There's a lot of pitchers in the world who would like to hit 66 throwing as hard as they can. She just threw a 66-mile-an-hour change after the 74-mile-an-hour drop. We're going to have a visit, maybe to talk about a pitch sequence and signals, as David King, who is the mastermind owner of the Triple Crown Colorado softball program. It's a massive entity that he runs so many major tournaments. And Mexico talking about change too. There's the home plate umpire, Gregorio Carletti from Italy. Make sure that both coaches are aware of the number of visits. Pickens, strike 3. Has her first strikeout of the game. And her 14th of the Canada Cup. On a big hop for Jackie Lease. So Mexico with a couple of hits off first team All-SEC Pitcher of the Year, Carlin Pickens. But they strand a couple in Triple Crown, Colorado, coming to bat in the bottom of the first.
Welcome to the 2024 Canada Cup, brought to you by the Canadian Amateur Sports Society. Our not-for-profit organization is dedicated to ensuring that every deserving child can fully enjoy multi-day sports camps without any limitations. Join us in making a difference. Sign up for these life-changing camps or become a sponsor today. Together, let's celebrate the unifying power of sport. Visit CanadaCup.com to learn.
Philippines, Israel, and then Canada with wins so far today. The first two games were single elimination. If you finished in the top two in your pool, which the four teams playing this evening, Canada, Australia, Triple Crown, Colorado, and Mexico, you have 2 playoff lives. So, as is the case for Australia, their Canada Cup hopes are still alive after the 4-3 9-inning loss to Canada. And the same will be said for the loser of this game. University of Texas and one of the freshman players of the year in the circle at Texas, Citlali Gutierrez. She was 11-2 at Texas for Michael White, who was a great pitcher on the men's side. 2.03 earned run average, 93 innings. She struck out 62 and walked 19. And this is the pitcher I really believe that Mexico is hoping to build their future around. Nothing against the likes of Lindsay Lopez or others on the staff, Rassi Miranda. But this could be their next one. She's from Stamford, Texas. Facing Kaylee Wickoff in her usual leadoff spot, off a glove. Hard throw from Jillian Solis is just in time to get Wickoff. And Solis, like a number of other shortstops, she probably has as good an arm as any. And had absolutely no time to waste on the 6-3 putout of Wickoff. Big Ten Player of the Year, shortstop Jess Oakland, who also has a very good arm over at shortstop. But her bat has done a lot of talking this week. She leads the tournament in home runs with 5. She has 6 hits. 5 of them have left the yard. And a couple have been just towering moonshots. This one pushes back Janelle Miono, the UCLA outfielder, back to almost the fence. And Gutierrez starts well with outs 1 and 2. Cassidy Pickering from Humble, Texas, helped Oklahoma to a record-breaking fourth consecutive NCAA College Women's World Series title in early June. She's 5 for 13 in her first Canada Cup with a double. She's homered and driven in a run. 1 for 3 last night in the 7-0 victory over Czechia. Upset today in almost unbelievable fashion by the Philippines. Solis again on the run. You can't get the job done any better than Solis did defensively. This play even better than the first. Got a lot on the throw. We're off to a good beginning in this second 1-2 playoff game. A date with Canada to the winner. Hard-throwing right-hander Carlin Pickens gave up a couple of first-inning hits. Mexico stranded a couple as Pickens goes back to work. She has pitched 7 2/3. This is the fourth game that she has appeared in. They've brought her in a lot late in games as a closer. She gets the start in this one. And she is humming tonight. Facing Savannah Whatley from Oakley, California, and Oregon State. She is red hot right now. 7 for 13, doubled 3 home runs, and 10 runs batted in. Right there amongst the leaders in that category. And she only had 1 at bat against Canada in their first game. 3 multi-hit games for Savannah Whatley. And homered at one point in 3 straight. 2 balls and a strike. At Oregon State, she batted just .167. But has found her stroke at the Canada Cup. Pickens, the tall right-hander. Weaverville, North Carolina is where she calls home. And Whatley manages to fight that off. Wouldn't think it would be very much longer before you see Carlin Pickens make the U.S. women's national team, but they have so much depth and so many great pitchers to choose from. Whatley on a couple of hops. Pickens picked it well. Savannah Whatley was asking for a challenge. But I think they got it right. Got it right. And the shovel was difficult as Alicia Campbell, who always swings like it might be her last, Had a good rip at that Pickens pitch. Because Carlin she was almost in foul territory and had to toss it around Watley to get the out. Quickly ahead of Alicia Campbell, who's 2 for 11. Like Savannah Watley played at Oregon State. As does Canada's Grace Mesmer, who had a great night. And Pickens. Strikeout number 2 and her 15th of the tournament. Catcher Alejandra Casas from Paris, California. A bunt attempt. Underhand shovel. It was all Carlin Pickens in that inning. Triple Crown, Colorado and Mexico off to a nice start in the final playoff game of the first playoff day at the Canada Cup. No reason to be sad. At least I hope there's not a big reason to be sad. Here's an interesting start to an inning. Citlali Gutierrez, Mexico's pitcher, is about to pitch against someone that she's pitched to all season. Her University of Texas teammate, Reese Atwood. So let's see how she's gone to school on her own teammate. She puts the face mask on. Reese Atwood in her second consecutive Canada Cup. Last year, hit a little bit better than she has this year. But heating up, she's 5 for 11. Miono has room in foul territory. Well, pitcher beats catcher and great batter on the first go-around. And it only required one pitch as Gutierrez has been impressive. She's faced 4 and retired 4. And when you deal with this lineup of college all-stars, that is no easy chore. Alexis Papillo, who played at Northern Iowa, is transferring to the University of Alabama. She's 6 for 12 at this Canada Cup, a double, a home run, and 6 runs batted in. Hit .324 at the University of Northern Iowa. So she's about to deal with much stiffer competition. The SEC. A lot of people know it in the sports landscape for its greatness in the sport of college football. Well, it's not really any different in women's softball. And Gutierrez and Casas, who have not worked together a lot prior to this week, they want to straighten everything out. Papillo has had a couple of multi-hit games, including won versus Australia in what was the showdown of the round robin earlier this week. She also ended a game early last night against Czechia in the bottom of the 5th inning with a 3-run batted in double. And she draws a Gutierrez walk, the first base runner for David King's Triple Crown Colorado. And now Gutierrez dealing with another University of Texas teammate in Katie Stewart. Her first meeting with a teammate went well. Let's see how this one goes. With Stewart from Franklin, Illinois, 5 for 14 in the tournament. She is homered. Great year at Texas where she batted .369 and 58 runs batted in, which paled in comparison to Reese Atwood's country-leading 90 runs batted in, which is almost hard to fathom. Gorgeous night at Softball City. And the weekend weather is supposed to only get warmer. 2 balls and a strike to Katie Stewart. Hit a grand slam homer earlier this week against Greece and fooled by the pitch from Gutierrez. Papillo the runner with 1 out. And a changeup is out of the zone. Triple Crown Colorado, this lineup just tends to wear pitchers down. Eventually, they're going to get you. Scored 37 runs in the 5 games that they played, and it was a difficult group. One of their most difficult games was a 4-0 win over Chinese Taipei, and Chinese Taipei didn't qualify for the playoffs. And Gutierrez has bragging rights after that at bat, and Katie Stewart, the body language tells you she didn't like the call. First strikeout for Gutierrez, and now it's Ariana Roddy. She's from Rhode Island. And Roddy, a first-team Softball America All-American for her effort this year at Charlotte, the University of Charlotte, where she batted .353 with 22 home runs and 55 runs batted in. She's 5 for 10 in the Canada Cup. As Gutierrez misses down with the drop, we have her at 63 on that pitch. Pickens has topped 74 tonight. Tells you how hard she throws into the hole, and it eludes Solis this time. First hit of the night for Triple Crown Colorado belongs to Ari Roddy. And with 2 out, brings to the plate Jackie Lease. And Lease past the diving second baseman. The throw to the plate is not in time. Great heads-up base running by Alexis Papillo. She never hesitates. As this blooper just eludes second base, and Cassis was up maybe a little too far, but the throw offline by Solis and the heads-up slide gives Triple Crown Colorado the lead. Gutierrez able to come back and limit the damage. Opportunistic. Turn a couple of hits off Citlali Gutierrez into the game's first run. Carlin Pickens now has a run to work with. As Jackie Lease has driven in the game's first run. Both teams have 2 hits. And the number 9 hitter is Janelle Miono. Played for a number of years at the University of Arizona before transferring to UCLA and helped the Bruins. An incredible program. Have won more national championships than anyone, although Oklahoma's closing in on that after winning 4 straight. But helped the Bruins to the Final 8, the College Women's World Series, and just manages to get a bat on the drop ball from Carlin Pickens. Miono from Hacienda Heights, California. 6 for 12 with 3 runs batted in so far. And when she, like a couple others, puts the ball in play to the left side of the diamond, very difficult to get out. Ball and 2 strikes to Miono, and swings and misses on the drop. And Pickens, who gave up a couple of hits in the first, is really starting to settle in. That's her 3rd strikeout. Madeline Bejarano flied out to Kaylee Wickoff in center field to start the game. I really like what I've seen from Bejarano from Cottonwood, Arizona. She started her college career at Central Florida before transferring to Brigham Young University, where she batted .289 this year. Here she's 7 for 15. Loves the drop, and when you throw it between 71 and 74 with good location, it's difficult to hit. Change up. Great pitch from Carlin Pickens. And there are 2 away in the top of the 3rd. Blaze Behringer has one of the 2 hits off Carlin Pickens. And not unlike Bejarano or Miono, except she might even be more of a slap-type hitter than the other 2. But hit the ball to the left side, and you've got trouble defensively. Five for 16 now in the tournament is Behringer. Too hot, though. Great reflexes by Katie Stewart, who fired a seed across the diamond. Triple Crown, Colorado. A big favorite coming in to win the Canada Cup. In front of Mexico, it's 1-0.
For the latest in softball innovation, the website where you can experience the best tournaments in the Americas. Live games, news, tournaments, and much, much more. The best quality live softball, on demand so you can watch when you want. Become a Premier member now. SoftballPremierTV.com. Live it on Softball Premier.
Well, the bird dance. Still great at weddings, I understand. I haven't been to one for a while, and thankfully not my own. Those didn't always work out so well. If you can't laugh at yourself, who can you laugh at? 2 hits, and Triple Crown Colorado turned it into the game's first run. Top of the order. And Kaylee Wickoff out in front of the off-speed pitch. She grounded out to Jillian Solis. She is from Katy, Texas. And played collegiately at Texas Tech, where she hit .407 for the Red Raiders. She was an all Big 12 first-team player. So really 2 great conferences, the SEC and the Big 12, in the women's softball world in the NCAA. And we have a lot of the stars from those conferences on this Triple Crown Colorado team. Citlali Gutierrez beat the University of Oklahoma this year, went a 7 complete inning game triumph, surrendering only 1 run on 6 hits back on April the 6th. As Wickoff fouls it off. In a loss against Oklahoma later in the year, on May the 11th, Gutierrez recorded a season-high 10 strikeouts. Goes upstairs with a rise. Didn't pitch a lot at the Women's College World Series. Change up. Solis back on the grass. And Jillian makes another fine defensive play tonight. Jess Oakland flew out to right fielder Janelle Miono, her first time up. 5 home runs. The Big Ten Player of the Year at the University of Minnesota. She hails from San Jose, California. Batted .452, 20 homers, 58 runs batted in. Her dad, Mike, a former minor league baseball player with the Colorado Rockies and a high school coach. Well, the instruction for his daughter has been excellent. She was 5th in the country in batting average, tied for 9th in home runs. A second-team All-American. And the 0-2 from Gutierrez on the way and hit towards the gap. Beeringer. Or make that Savannah Watley. You deserve an out when you make a play like that. Savannah Watley, you can't stretch out anymore. But Oakland gets down the line well enough. That is superb work to keep that ball in the infield. Too good a play not to be rewarded. As a rare hit for Jess Oakland that isn't a home run. She has 7 hits. 5 of them have left the yard. And she has the 3rd Triple Crown Colorado hit of the game for Cassidy Pickering, the national champion from the University of Oklahoma. And she was excellent all season. Also in the best-of-3 final versus Gutierrez in the University of Texas. She homered twice in that best-of-3 affair. She does have a home run in this event. It came against Greece. Greece was 0-5 and finished last in the pool that included Australia, Czechia, just mentioned Greece, and the surprising Saskatchewan 222s, who fell to Israel in their playoff game. Canada earlier tonight in a superb contest outlasts Australia, went back and forth. Canada won it 4-3 in the second extra inning on the same day that Canada officially named its 16-player roster for the upcoming World Cup. And an exciting day for a couple of young players like 18-year-old Jana Want, 22-year-old pitcher Katie Korstrom. Watley, I think the runner is safe. And so does she. But called out, and they might review this. They're going to. Upon first glance, it looked like the throw was late. Difficult to tell from that angle. And there is indeed, you have one challenge a game. For the first time, video review in order at the Canada Cup, which just puts a lot of pressure on my pal, Luciano Lafrano, to be honest with you. Only running about 13 things to make these streaming broadcasts possible to begin with. And now has to provide the pictures and be part of that process as well as Roberto Flores, who heads up the review. And this is going to take a minute or two to make a decision. So David King with a 1-0 lead feels like this is an important enough time to take a look. It is indeed a review. Play at second base, a force to attempt to get Jess Oakland. As the gentlemen who are heading things up will gather and take a look past the curtain beside us up here in the booth. So Triple Crown Colorado, 5-0 in the tournament, in the round robin. They lost the final to two great teams as Watley looked at first and then has to pivot and throw to second, trying to get the lead runner. Jess Oakland definitely thought she beat it. It's difficult from that vantage point to know. They try to slow it down enough. On our monitor, very difficult to see clearly the bag, which isn't anyone's fault. This is not a situation where you have 8 or 10 cameras and have all kinds of different angles from a number of places. So it's great to have a review, and it's been very helpful. But they've seen enough upstairs to overturn the original ruling. So Jess Oakland is safe, and David King's challenge works out. And here's Reese Atwood. "90 runs batted in at Texas. Popped up to right field her first time up tonight. She is from Sandia, Texas. When you have a year like that, of course you're a first-team All-American. How could you not be? Batting average .423, 23 home runs, and those 90 runs batted in. Gutierrez, Alejandra Casas does well to keep it in front of her so that Jess Oakland couldn't take third base. So Triple Crown Colorado threatening to add to the lead. And Atwood tried to hit that into the bleachers, but missed off her University of Texas teammate, Gutierrez. In her first appearance, I believe, for the Mexico national team. And just completed her first year at the University of Texas. So she has a very bright future, not only at college, but could definitely become a number one pitcher for Mexico as they work like a lot of other countries to not only World Cups, but the 2028 Olympic Games. And Gutierrez will feel good about striking out her teammate at Texas. Strikeout number 2 for Citlali Gutierrez. And brings to the plate Alexis Papillo, who walked and scored. The game's only run so far. As Gutierrez misses up with a rise ball. It's been around that 63 or 64 mark when I have looked. And there's 64 on the inside corner. Good change of pace. Moves the ball up and down. And when you have the opportunity to be coached by Michael White, her head coach, one of the great male pitchers of his time, you can only get better. 2 balls and a strike to Alexis Papillo from Crystal Lake, Illinois. And Gutierrez didn't miss the mark by much. So a hitter's count. There's 2 out. Triple Crown, Colorado, and Mexico looking to join Canada in the winner's bracket final tomorrow here at 6. As the playoffs will continue once again tomorrow at 1 o'clock. CanadaCup.com will have all the matchups and the brackets filled out for you on their website. The one I am most certain of is the game at 6. You know Canada will play in it. Which one of these 2 teams will join them? The loser of this game, I believe, has a date with the Philippines. And Gutierrez has walked the bases full. And Stewart struck out looking against her University of Texas teammate an inning ago. Strike 1 is the count to Katie Stewart. Gutierrez misses down to even the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. 2 on, 2 out. Triple Crown, Colorado trying to break it open. And they just did. A mammoth grand slam off the bat of Katie Stewart. Never a doubt. Second home run, second grand slam of the Canada Cup. So her teammate Gutierrez got the best of her the first time, not the second time. She hit 13 home runs at the University of Texas this season, and Gutierrez left it in the middle of the plate. And bye-bye, it went. Got out of here in a hurry. And 1-0 turns into 5-0 just like that. This is such a talented lineup. They're like sharks. It's the only way I can describe it. You go along, you're doing okay. So the challenge ends up being a huge call. If the original call at second stays, the inning would have been over. Instead, kaboom. Or as Luciano and I like to say, boom. There's another boom. And it eludes Miono. And Ari Roddy has her second straight hit in as many innings. This one's a double. And after looking pretty comfortable in the first couple of innings, Triple Crown Colorado gets to Citlali Gutierrez. Roddy's third double of the Canada Cup. And it's 5-0. Remember, in the tournament, they've given up 1 run. 1. That's it. And now they have 5. Australia was able to score a run on them in a 6-1 loss. 7-0 over Saskatchewan. 4-0 they beat Chinese Taipei. 7-0 over Czechia. 13-0 over Greece. 1 run given up. So the Katie Stewart Grand Slam leaves Mexico in a massive hole. And Gutierrez trying to battle her way out of giving up any more. Carlin Pickens has given up just the 2 hits, both in the first inning, as Mexico left a couple of runners stranded. And it never seems to fail. If you want to get to an elite pitcher, do it early. They almost did. Nice drop ball by Citlali Gutierrez. Her Texas teammate got the better of her that time. Clobbered a grand slam, and now Mexico in arrears, trailing 5-0. Well, Mexico with a big hole after the Katie Stewart Grand Slam home run that has given Triple Crown Colorado a big 5-0 lead with SEC Pitcher of the Year, first-team All-American Carlin Pickens in command. Jillian Solis has one of the 2 hits off of Pickens. She sent a changeup back up the middle into the outfield back in the first. And Pickens has been as high as 74 and consistently on our radar at 71, 72. Solis is an excellent hitter. Doesn't have necessarily the results to show for it in this event. She is 5 for 16 in the Pan Am Games. Mentioned her 12 for 20 at the University of Washington this year for U.S. national team coach. And she got into that one, and it is off the fence. So Jillian Solis finding her stroke at an important time. It just missed being a home run. And it went out there on a line. Goes the other way with the outside pitch and just stayed in. Right off the Canada part of the sign. So a second hit for Solis. And by my score book, her first extra base hit of this Canada Cup. She had 5 doubles, 3 home runs last year here in Surrey. So a good start for Mexico in the top of the 4th. Garcia goes around. When it comes in at 70 plus, it can go out even quicker. That was big velocity going out. So Jillian Solis with a stand-up double to open this inning. Now it's up to Mexico to start chipping away at this deficit. And you can't miss out on any opportunities. They had 1 in the first to open the scoring and left 2 runners on base. Alyssa Garcia, the batter. Count to her is even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. She struck out back in the first. She struck out again in the 4th. Number 5 for Carlin Pickens, who had 225 strikeouts this year at the University of Tennessee. Her season high came in a game early in the season, February 24th, a 14 strikeout performance against the University of Central Florida. And delivers another strike to Lina Rabayedo. Lena playing in left field, and she hits it quite well. Sends Wyckoff right back to the fence. So Rebolledo well struck. Not quite enough to leave the yard, which is exactly what Mexico needs right now. And it carried pretty well. Wyckoff had to turn. And there's 2 away for Savannah Watley, who's homered 3 times in this tournament from Oakley, California, and Oregon State University. She did not have a home run at college this year. And she whacks this. Caught. Can't hit it any harder than that. So Mexico, 3 very hard-hit balls against Carlin Pickens. Papillo made a whale of a catch.